What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another podcast of the Top Figure Podcast. Today we have a special guest. You know, this episode is special here because we're going to talk about the truth. We're going to get deep. We have CjAnderson on the podcast, serial entrepreneur, played in the NFL, won a Super Bowl. That's a big accomplishment, and a philanthropist giving back to his community, doing a lot of things. So CJ, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, man, my young kids.
Always. Before we get into it, CJ has actually been following us. I met CJ in 2018, right when we were starting. Yep. And like this brother right here was one of the reasons why the brand grew so much, because he was just always telling us, yo, keep going, don't stop. Especially like at the first event, like when we met him at the Gary Vee event. So shout out to Gary Vee for hosting that event. But like when we met him, we were just getting started, right? Literally had nothing going, but he seen the vision, he believed in us and things like that. So that's dope. So for the few people that don't know you, man, like let's go deep, right? Like let's go back. Who is CJ from the start, before the NFL, before college, before everything that you have going on for yourself? Like where did you come from, the beginnings? Let's go back.
Well, for me, man, I grew up in Vallejo, California, right? In a neighborhood called the Country Club Crest. If you're into like, I forgot what that show was called, Ganglands or whatever. The Romper Room game, my uncle was heavily a part of it. I had two uncles in it. They was robbing banks and doing shit like that. But grew up in a single parent home. Never knew my dad. Still don't know my dad today. That's one thing I tell people. Like the one thing I respect about my pops, right, is if he was gonna be a deadbeat, he's a deadbeat forever. So I'm not mad about that because he never tried to come out the woodworks when things start to arrive from me. But single parent home, raised by my mom and my grandma. Got two siblings, obviously my little brother and my older brother. I'm the middle child, and from there, as you said, just fast forward a little bit, you know, because I've seen some things, drug raids and different stuff going on in my life, in my house. But fast forward from there, I got an opportunity with football. Football took over, and ended up playing 9 years in the league. And, you know, I'm sitting here today giving back not only to my community with the foundation, but giving back coaching. I have my alma mater at UC Berkeley now, coaching, trying to let these kids know. You swear you think these kids, and some of them think they're the next Marshawn Lynch, but they got a long way to go before they believe that. So just trying to give back any way I can. But that's just a little bit about me, just in a quick circle, quick wrap.
Awesome. No, you mentioned like you come from, you know, humble beginnings, and you went back to that, right? Right now you're giving back to a lot of kids, and you don't necessarily have to do that. You could be doing a lot of different things. So like, let's get into specifically athletes, right? When athletes, they first start, and you know, you get the beginning athlete money and like things, the flashy and all these things. What do you think is like the misconceptions that people will think of, like, oh, athletes, they got all this money and things happen? So what would you recommend to a new athlete that's just made it to the NFL? He's new to the game. He just got in, and like, boom, they get all this money at like 18 or something, 19 or something. And like, they don't know what to do with this. So since being in the game for so long and seeing so many different things, what would your advice be?
Well, something that Champ Bailey told me, you know, Champ Bailey, Hall of Famer, something that he told me is take 20,000, 30,000 at the most, and live on that during the off season. You know, because our game checks is going to be 27, 25. Well, when I was my rookie year, there was 27,000 a game check. They're probably a little higher now. You know, obviously inflation and things go up every year. So, you know, when I was getting 27,000 my very first year a game, right? Play 16 games, so you can do the number on that. But 27 is some change. You know, I would take one game check and put it towards the offseason. That's what I'm going to live off of. Now, I wasn't a big flashy guy. Obviously, you guys know I love riding PJs. I still do those.
Yeah. Can't stop the PJs. Can't stop the PJs.
I got my Porsche, my Benz, you know, and a couple other cars I can name, but I'm not going to name them too much. But I enjoy that. But those are some of the things that I enjoy. Like, I bought all shoes that you can possibly think of, but I did that like once I got my big deal. I got paid. Now at 30, you know, I'm 30 years old. Now at 30, like, it's all about my daughter. It's all about the future, and which we're going to talk about here on this podcast here in a minute. But what I would tell young athletes today is A, do that, and then B, whatever relationships that you had in college, keep those relationships going. You know, I saw you post something the other day. I think it was last night, to be honest, and you said relationships will open doors that money can't, and that's 100%. That's 100% because you know I'm a true believer. You know, I met you at Gary V event, right? But I got in the Gary V event because I know G. I didn't have to pay for no ticket or nothing. I'm assuming y'all got in because y'all knew someone there. Yeah. Obviously, Dave Messler is a good friend of mine too, another mentor. So like relationships open up opportunity. Like when we start talking about some of these opportunities that I got that's gonna blow y'all mind away, that you know, when they talk about investing, I've only invested my friendship. I've barely invested any money.
Yep. Hold on. Say that again. Say that again for the people.
when we talk about investing, I've only invested my friendship. You know, I have barely out of, I would say 25 or 26 different investments that I'm in. I would say like 4 I've actually put money in. 2 I lost. 2 is still going. But like that's it. And when you put the money into it, it's a money thing. Like it's a business transaction. And when that transaction is done, it's done. But when you have a relationship, a friendship with a person, it goes beyond the dollar. So I would just tell the kids today, like, 1, take your first 2 game checks, man. Live off that in the off season, right? I mean, it got good for me. Like, I own no jewelry. I have no tattoos. This is something I'm not interested in, right? I'm interested in other things that I like doing. But take 2 game checks, put it towards the off season. And then if you made some relationships, some friendships in college, keep those because you never know if you can be a part of that or involved in that. You never know, that might be the next Jeff Bezos. You just never know.
That's super important. You mentioned that because relationships, especially like, here's the things about athletes and like celebrities. You guys have attention, right? In this day and age, attention is essentially a currency, right? Attention brings money in. So a lot of these companies, people like, especially beginner athletes, they could start leveraging their attention rather than saying like, hey, instead of paying me and as we've seen with LeBron, remember he got into the soccer team, he took like 2% equity or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but he leveraged his attention to get equity out of it. And now it's worth like, you know, we don't even know how much, but it's like, leveraging attention. And you mentioned that, like, that was super important right there, connected with me, because when we first met back in 2018, we got into that event. It was a private event. We knew somebody there. And then through that event, we met David Melter, we met you, we met other people that we are still
in business today, to this day,
and connected with. And that's how important relationships really are. But a lot of people, especially when they get some form of success, they think they moved above those relationships. Now it's like they're searching for the other relationships, not knowing someone could connect you with that other person. It only takes one person that knows another person to connect you.
100%. I mean, look at us. We still been cool since 2018. We 3 years in our friendship. And I know, you know, if you need anything, I need anything, it's a quick call and it's going to happen. You know, prime example for this podcast, like, we found a way to make this work. I've turned a lot of podcasts down. One, because I don't even know the people. Like, I don't know the person that I'm giving this free game to. And it's not saying that I turned it down because I'm getting a free game. I'm turning them down because I just don't know what you're going to do with it. You know, we, like yourself, like Gary, like me, you know, like my boy Dan Springer, the CEO of Dr. Sign, we like to surround ourselves around good-hearted, good human beings, and you don't get that everywhere. You know, I'm pretty sure as you guys been climbing, and you guys' success has been coming. I don't want to say haters, but you've been getting people who's been trying to find a way to tear y'all down or find a wrench in y'all past life that's going to try to interrupt what you're doing now. And there's just some people out there like that. So I don't want to, you know, I don't like jumping on podcasts with people I don't know. Because at least like me and you, I know where this conversation is going to go and head. And you might have a couple wrinkles, which is cool. But I know it's not somebody completely I don't know. And then you bringing something back up from like 2014. And I'm like, damn, bro, I'm 7 years grown from that. I've made some mistakes for sure, but I'm 7 years grown from that. So the relationships is huge, man. They're huge. And the relationships I got now that I had back even before, you know what I'm saying, I had back in 2015. What's going on now is I would have never believed it. I would have never believed it if it wasn't me.
And we appreciate you, like for jumping on this, man. And like one thing you mentioned, like really, like how would you say, like the mentality wise, like what does it take? Like that's one thing I've always really, especially early on as entrepreneurs, like how early on in your entrepreneurship journey, you got to take like so much sacrifice early on, so much just like, commitment early on. What is that like in the NFL being as a player? Is it the same level of commitment, the same level of grit, like as in the entrepreneurship world? Would you say it's similar?
Completely. I mean, it's even in the coaching world right now. Like, I'm a young coach. I'll be considered an old player if I was still playing. I turned down 4 jobs last year. 4 jobs to get back in the NFL. I turned down 4 jobs. I just didn't want to play no more for 2 reasons. I got reasons why. But I think what you said is perfect. It's sacrifice, it's commitment. Anything that you get into new and early, like you get into it for the first time, you got to make some sacrifices and you got to make some commitment. But the biggest thing is sticking with it. People think 3 years is a long time. That ain't a long time. Oh, you ain't really 5 years ain't a long time. Like you might not see, it took 8 years for Amazon to get off the ground. Some people don't know that, right? It took 8 years for that to go, right? It took. I'm sitting on a board right now, a company called Ibotta. It's a coupon app, right? Get your money back. You can do some good stuff. Y'all can look that up. Me and the CEO Brian Leach out of Denver, really cool. But I met Brian, right, 2 years into when he started the company in 2012. He just now started booming, right? He started back in 2012. It's 2021. He just now started booming. I just think some people just don't stick with it. Same with me, like making it to the league. I had a bunch of friends who all wanted to play in the NFL. And I tell people go, what is the difference? It wasn't a talent level. We all had talent. I just stuck with it. I didn't try to jump on the new hottest thing because it'd give me the quickest results. We've learned, and I've learned that if you're going to jump into something for the quickest results, you're not going to get the results that you want. So you got to stick with it. You got to be passionate about it, and you got to have sacrifice and commitment. And your family members and friends got to understand that sacrifice and commitment. There's going to be a time for them, but I'm going to put a lot of time into this because once this go and it gets off the ground, then I can take some time and do some other things. But, the work, people don't understand the work to this, being an entrepreneur, philanthropist, being coaching NFL, the work is real. And you got to continue to be on that every day consistently or you won't get your goals.
Yeah, and the success don't come right away, and that's the biggest thing. Like, especially from like when we met you back in 2018, like yeah. Literally, like we would, like for 3 years before that, we were attending a networking event every week. We were going to one networking event at least. We would go to meetup.com and we would pop into any networking event. We'd go to like a coding event. We'd go into like, all the local Twin Cities, anything, whether it be networking, we were in there, and that's how a lot of people in the city, found out about us. And we built a great network like that, and eventually but we were making money before, and it's just like it took us time and energy and commitment and sacrifice, consistently keeping on, just like attending, building relationships. Before we were able to cash in on any of those relationships, we had to build rapport, build value, first understand like what can we offer, what can we help, and like we weren't getting paid early on, but it's like and a lot of times, like you were saying, like family and people like around you look at that and they're like, is this really working out for you? Like, what are you doing? But they don't know that we're building that like foundation, and it takes foundation to build up, and it takes time. It's not something that's like that's gonna come right away. So I hear you on that, man. It just feels just like it's just like a, you know what I mean? Like it's so real.
And another thing is too that why I respect y'all grind and other people grind who going through what we going through. It's the team. Like the whole team is on the goal. Because you might get one person on the team that's like headstrong and want to get it every day, but he got to lead the others and sometimes pick up the other slack. And you like, bruh, it's already tough doing what I'm doing. Now I got to try to pick up your slack too. Don't mean I won't do it, but just understand, like, if I keep picking up your slack, I'm not going to eventually let you reap the benefits if I'm doing all the work. So, the fact that y'all got a team of people who grind and believe and put the same amount of work in, of course, y'all got y'all problems because that just happened with business, but they put the same amount of work in and the same, like, we have the natural goal to get whatever that is. That's the big thing too. Like, I think the commitment, because some people start off with the commitment and then, weeks in, months in, a year in, one person falls down. And when that one person falls down, it kind of fuck up the whole team. So you trying to figure out like, bruh,
snowball.
You gonna jump on or I'm gonna replace you? Like I've done that with my friends. You feel me? I got friends who they not in the business I'm in no more because they didn't want to put the work in. That was just me and my little brother. Like on the entrepreneur side, on the coaching side, it's still 4 of us, but it started off as 6 of us. 2 dropped off, and it's like, bruh, if you're not gonna put this work in, I can't. You can't say, oh, see, when you get the job, bro, holla at me, let me in, and then you expecting me to hire you at a higher position because you the homie. Hell no, bro. Like, I'm gonna start you down at the bottom because you should have been at the bottom working up with us, but now that I'm up, I got to give that position to someone who qualified for it. I'm not giving it to you because you homie qualified. That don't work.
That's huge right there, because a lot of people don't understand. You can't just place somebody. Here's the thing that happens with a lot of families, right? Let's say you make it big or something and you try positioning one of your family members or your friends at a high position that they're not developed for, or they haven't built the character through all the failures. Because what is essentially success? Success just means you failed a lot of different times and you never gave up. You just learned something new every time. And if you don't go through that jungle, you're not going to know what it's like to handle all these issues, or you're going to fold under pressure essentially, you know? So that's why it's super important that you mentioned, like, don't everybody got to earn it. That's what one thing about this game that we're in with entrepreneurship, even in the NFL, like, you had to earn your spot. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Like, you literally earned so much respect and even won a Super Bowl. Like, winning a Super Bowl is not something easy, especially like your background and how you got into the league and everything. Yeah. So let's get deeper into that. So how was that process to winning a Super Bowl? That's a unicorn story right there.
Yeah. Other than my daughter being born, bro, that's the best feeling in the world. You know, it's kind of funny, right? So, and look, I mean this in no disrespect. I want to get this out the way first, because, you know, some people gonna take it a different way. Me and TV12 type. But I look at TV12 life and I look at my life and I go, bruh, had it. Like, bruh went through the struggle of working hard when people doubted him, right? So Tom, 6th-round pick 199, had to work hard. He earned everything that he's possibly got. 7 championships, obviously, arguably the greatest, if not the greatest all-time quarterback to ever play our game, right? But the only adversity he really, from the eyesight, right? I'm not saying that's not 100% true, so don't quote me on that. But the only adversity that I see from my perspective is there were 6 quarterbacks picking over you. Instead of you being a first pick like Peyton Manning, you was a 6th-round pick. But you have to work hard and work your way up with that. But you got your mom, like, when I look at it, like, you grew up in San Mateo, right? Which, you feel me? Is a better area than I grew up in, right? You had your mom and your dad in the house. I didn't, right? I'm pretty sure you didn't go through too many drug raids. Your uncle was selling drugs. So, like, bro, I had a lot of obstacles to punch through. And don't get me wrong, like, I see you doing the interview, and I'm excited. When Tom won, I was excited for him. But I sat there and said, bruh, there's some people like me, like, we really, like, struggle. Like, you know, I don't know, like, you know, some people in the league, now this is away from Brady now. Some people in the league, I know, like, physically, I know if they didn't make it to the NFL, they was going to be all right. Like, because whether mom took care of business, dad took care of, and I tell them, as they were supposed to, your mom and your dad is supposed to put you in a position to have a better future than they did, right? Well, that ain't the case in a lot of our communities, African-American communities. We don't have a lot of, like, I was first college graduate. I'm pretty sure one of y'all probably was too, you know? So, you know, the struggle and the grind of just making it there was like a win for everybody in the community. Now that you made yourself a name, you won a Super Bowl, you've been to some Pro Bowls, you know, people hitting you up on social media, still putting plays out today, even though I'm retired. Like, that part there is more to me, because now I know that I've arrived and stepped in. You know, that where I came from, right, is not where I'm at. You know, I heard Cam Newton saying on the I Am Athlete podcast, with more exposure becomes more growth. And that's what happened to me in my life. Like I got more exposure where I got a lot more growth. So, I try to give those exposures to my friends and different colleagues and different people because I didn't have that. But you talk about some other people in the league, they've already had that exposure, and the NFL was like a bonus. Well, the NFL is the exposure for me. The chance of why I play football is how I got, X amount of shares and sitting on the board at DocuSign, X amount of shares and sitting on the board at Google, X amount of shares and sitting on the board at Salesforce. How I got into the Gary Vee, the Dave Messler events, how me and Gary Vee doing some business things together, how me and this guy, John Maeda, is doing some condos and some apartments, how we doing some things together out here in the Bay Area. Like, all that happened because of the NFL. Some of those cats would have already had that NFL or not. So, winning the Super Bowl was amazing, and it opened up more doors, right? When people talk like you guys, when people talk to me now, it's Super Bowl 50 champion CjAnderson. It ain't just CjAnderson no more. Like they gotta throw this like even when I retired, Adam Schefter, Pro Bowl running back and Super Bowl champion CjAnderson is retired from the NFL. Like that's my name, and as long as I can carry that name, when the Super Bowl comes back around, people think of that game. I'm gonna be a part of history, right? My name can always somehow stay relevant, which always give you opportunity, for more business ventures.
And that's what's up, man. Like literally, like the grit and the hunger and like the fact that you said literally, like you came from a different type of struggle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and people just that are in the NFL that they will be good regardless. You're right to say that. It's crazy how that difference is. So I want to talk about really like that pressure, right? Yeah. I've always like, especially in entrepreneurship, like you face a lot of situations of pressure, and a lot of people can crack under pressure. There's nothing like hundreds of millions of people staring down at you with the lights, camera, action. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just the ball is just, just in play. What is that feeling like? Break it down to us, because
my mom told me something that one thing I hold strong, and that's advice I give to everybody that's going through it. So, pressure, right? Pressure is only pressure when you're not prepared for the situation at hand. So, when I see some, there's some athletes out there that you can name, you can look up, right? They say they couldn't handle success, right? They couldn't handle success. They couldn't handle all the money, and all the fame that was thrown to them. I don't think they was ready for success, or they told themselves personally, like, I'm gonna be successful. Like, I consider myself a humble dude on certain situations. Oh, CJ, you one of the greatest Broncos running backs of all time. Nah, Terrell Davis, Floyd Little, I'd start naming some other cats. But, there's a time where I'm not humble, where it's like, bro, did you know you was going to be successful? You damn right I did. Did you know you was going to be, did you know you was going to make it to the NFL? You damn right I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think when it comes to that pressure, right, in every situation that I've been in, even in the business venture, right, I fully prepare myself for the situation. Now, what I can't control is what happens in those situations, but because I walked through that situation over and over and over, went through that process over and over in my head or out loud or actually walked through it, when that situation comes up, I know how to better handle it because I was ready for a situation to come up, if that makes sense. So, when it comes to the pressure, I just always go back to what my mama say, like, if you wasn't ready for success, if you wasn't ready for whatever that's going to apply, then yeah, you're going to fold and it's going to break because it'd be the first time it ever slapped you across the face. Like adversity, right? There's many different adversities, but the common denominator of adversity is going through something that people don't think you can get through. So I've done that already multiple times in my past. And then now when it comes to like, I want to be a successful coach, there's things I got to do that I'm doing now that's going to put me in a position. So when my time comes to run my own program or whatever, I'm going to be successful at it. I want to be a successful businessman. Well, the Jody Bonsals, the Dave Messlers, the Keith Crocs, the Gary V's, I had to like mentor, talk to them, get to know them, like, and ask them questions about what it is, the trials and tribulations of business. So now when I got my own company, we can strive and we doing our thing. And I don't have to run into some of the problems that they ran into. I'm gonna still run into some problems, yes, but I've got so much game and I've prepared from years out. When that problem come up, I'm gonna be ready to handle it, and that's why I don't think pressure. I try to say pressure don't get to me as much because I'm usually prepared for any situation.
Preparation.
That's huge. Preparation is better than not being prepared. You always got to be prepared. No, you mentioned something important there. You said like you've always had that belief pattern in yourself, right? And too often, especially in the minority community, our belief patterns are a little bit broken, and like we're not like really confident in ourselves, right? Like if you don't have the ultimate confidence that you can do something, why should somebody else have that confidence in you? That's literally where it starts from. If you literally can't believe that you can do the job, why should someone else ever believe in you to actually do it?
100%. I mean, look at it. I look at it like this too, though, man. Look, for like single parent home, right? Just my mom and my grandma. Like, of course, when I was 14, 15, 16, it didn't hit me that way. But when I got 23, 24, I started to see it from a different lens. So I looked at it like this, right? How do you get self-confidence? How do you get self-belief? Well, look at your life in front of you. Like my mom by herself raised 3 boys in a certain neighborhood, kept us off the streets, kept us out of trouble for the most point. But like she had confidence that we was gonna have food on our table. She had confidence and belief that she was gonna pay the light bill. She was gonna pay the cable bill, right? When we got our cell phones, you know, my sophomore year in high school, right? She had confidence that the cell phone bill was gonna be paid before we took it over. Like those are little wins that you can take from your parents or take from your guardian or take from even friends, right? I'm playing with a friend, right? Or I'm with a friend. They got an A on, like simple as that. They got an A on the test. I got a C, right? Well, the confidence and belief that the work that they put in to get that A, like those things add up. You know, we take those things for granted. Like those are responsibilities that are supposed to happen. Like I do that with my daughter today. You know, my daughter be 2 in April. I do that with her today and telling my wife, like, you know, we got this little play slide, right? And then in the beginning, my wife was scared, but it was like, bro, you got to let her climb, right? Because the only way she gonna know that if she falls, it's gonna hurt if she fall. Now we can show her how to climb so she doesn't fall, right? And if she paying attention and retaining what she did, right? And she has some falls too, but if she paying attention and retaining what she did, you know, that she gonna be successful every time. And those are little wins that people take for granted, right? Like waking up and brushing your teeth in the morning, bro, and taking a shower, that's a W. That's a win. That's a win in life, right? That's a win in life. That's a discipline in life, a structure in life. That's one thing I learned. Like we talked about sacrifice and commitment. It's also being disciplined, right? Waking up, showering, and brushing your teeth every morning is a disciplined role that you can start. That's a successful day of starting your life. So if you can do that every day, then you can do other things every day, you know, that's going to add up to put it there. So that's just kind of how, like, now I look life at that lens. Like everything I do is a little W, and those little W's add up to bigger W's. And as long as I can win the little W's and continue to be disciplined with this, I'll get to the end goal.
The little W's
add up. And I always say this: if you could be 1% better than you were yesterday, you're in a better place, right? Because we're striving to. There's no such. It rarely happens that you get huge wins like at once. It's always increments and small little wins that when you look back like a year, like, oh snap, I did all this, rather than trying to just attack the big win. You know what I'm saying? Like people look at Jeff Bezos right now, he's the richest person in the world, he's this, he's that, but they don't look 25 years ago where he was at, 30 years ago, what he was doing all these 25 years to get to where he is right now. Like Amazon started with a couple of employees, then they grown, and right now they're up to like 500,000 employees. You know, that didn't happen overnight. It was small wins, small accomplishments that were adding up to now when you look at it, you're like, oh snap, this is a huge operation here. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's, you got to look at it from that lens if you want to really grow, you know. So let's actually go deeper into your NFL journey, right? So pretty much you took a different route, and you won the Super Bowl. You also went to the Super Bowl more than once. You know, that's another thing. Let's talk about that. How was it when you were playing in LA, man? It was way different. Was the experience different experience? Because, you know, Denver was way different than LA.
Rams,
so
yeah.
What was it like? Were you distracted off the field sometimes? You know, LA life is crazy. It's the fast life living is way different scenes. So what was that experience like? And like, let's say young athletes that are aspiring athletes that are in college that are listening to this, what could they take away from that?
Well, I was older when I got to LA, so the fast young life I wasn't living so much as much. So when I got to LA, it was all business. I don't think anything changed as far as football, right? Football is football, right? What we did and what we accomplished. Like when I walked into that locker room, that team reminded me of the championship team that we had in Denver. You know, the 2 championship teams that we had in Denver. You know, one we lost and one we won, obviously. But that's what that reminded me of. I just think, to be completely honest with it, you know, it's on the person is one thing, but another thing is too, it's like it's on the people in the locker room. Like when I walked in, Todd Gurley, Akeem Talib, Jared Goff, you know, Andrew Whitworth, Roger Stafford, there's a bunch of names I can name, like grab me immediately, like, bruh, you getting on this. Like, don't even think about nothing else. You finna come do this. This is what we need you to do. This is why you're here. And I think it was just great leaders, right? And you know, throughout when I got to them, I was in year 7, right? So I ended up playing 2 more years after that, obviously. But I was in year 7 when I got to them. And being at one spot, you know, I was in Denver, being at one spot, you've grown into being a leader. You've grown into leading young men, like leading my running back room or leading young wide receivers, or even today, talking to the athletes that I coach, leading young men, right? Putting them in position to be better. I took a step back role. Like, hey, I'm not the leader of this team, if that makes sense. There are already established leaders on this team, and I must be getting to this role of following, right, the leader. Now, there are some football input that I can say that's always going to go solid because universal football and, you know, who I am and what they knew about me always helped. But I think the biggest thing that helped me when I got to LA, obviously we got to that Super Bowl, was just understanding that my role was not the rah-rah guy or come on, guys, let's go. It was to follow the Aaron Donalds, right? Follow the Akeem Talibs, right? Follow Sean McVay and what they had planned. Adapt to that. And I think being a chameleon and adapting is a big part of not just the NFL, but obviously entrepreneurship, business, you know, understanding when you are the leader in the room and when you're not the leader in the room. So I think I just played the role there that I knew I wasn't the leader.
And that's like, that says a lot about your character, because when going there, you already won a Super Bowl. So you could have walked in saying like, yo, I'm already a Super Bowl winner. I know the recipe. I know how to get us there. Everybody follow me. You know, it's so easy for you that you could have did that, but you chose this other round. You said, hey, let me take the seat back. Even though you were still killing them out there, scoring the touchdowns and everything, you said, okay, there's already leaders established here. Let me contribute to the team because we're all a team here, rather than just being selfish and saying like, hey, this is a new team, I'm the leader now. You know what I'm saying? And too often we see this in entrepreneurship and business and football, everything. Ego. Let's talk about ego. How ego affects so many people, and how ego could actually keep you broke. How ego could hold you from getting to the bag. How ego could hold you back from getting that connection, because you think just because you accomplish something, you think you're bigger than you are, or things like that. So like, let's talk a little bit about that.
I mean, I've got some of the greatest mentors on the planet, dog. Like Sridhar Ramaswamy, you know, before he went off to go be a VC, you feel me? He was looking over $60 billion in ads at Google, right? That was his, like, he was the main dude. He was one of the first 4 founders for Google. Like, I got to meet him. Me and him super tight. Kevin Lin from Twitch was the co-founder, right? Co-founder of Twitch. He just left the company not too long ago, but you know, Twitch is booming right now, right? I still got my Twitch channel and still do my thing, but Twitch is booming right now, right? Obviously, Keith Crock, was the guy who made DocuSign go IPO. Now DocuSign's sitting at 44 or 45 Bs, right? The guy he let take over, Dan Springer, me and him super tight. John Maeda, which is urban land development, commercial real estate. It's like, the biggest tower in San Francisco that Salesforce uses. His company built that tower. Like, I've got so many different mentors, even Gary Vee and Dave Messler, where I have been in meetings with them and they took a step back. And these is powerful dudes. Like, they like Mike Dale, Mike Dale, 25, 27 billion. You feel me? Like, obviously we all know about Dale products, but I know Mike Dale, who I've seen him walk in, $25 billion dude, take a step back in a seat. So if they can do that, why can't I? That's how I look at it. Like, I don't need no, you know what I'm saying? Like, they way more caked up than me. What got way more problems, I should say, as far as like the business world, right? That their phone is always ringing and they always got to have a solution to something, right? There's always something going on with the company. If they can sit back and take a step seat in their own company too, though, they can take a step seat about a department, about something that they don't understand. And why can't I? So that's how I look at it. You never want your ego too big, right? They always tell you, right? You never want to be the smartest in the room. You never want your ego too big where it pushes people away, because, money don't change you, right? Money changes the people around you. And then money don't change you. It just enhanced the person you already were going to be or who you are. So if you was already super egotistic with very little money, then when you get the money, then you blowing that way. But, like something I learned from Jay-Z, like, you lose the future that you can get from that by having an ego or by being an asshole or by saying I'm better than y'all because I'm here and y'all here. Like, the world don't work like that. And, I've seen some of the most powerful people in the world that I consider powerful take a step back and pay attention and listen. So I was like, that's something if they can do it, I got to learn that fast. And it's worked out for me.
And that's awesome, man. Like, a humbling character, and that truly shows your character. And really, like, let's segue really into like what you got going on as far as like the kids, the foundation. Mm-hmm. Like, let us know a little bit about that. What can like the people like know of, like, what you're doing for the kids, what you got going in for your coaching? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So we started Dreams Never Die back in 2016. The event y'all met me at was the put on Dreams Never Die. During the pandemic, we've done some online things because that's all we can do. But now that the world might be open on y'all side of the world, but out here in Cali, it's just slowly but surely finding its way. But now that the world is opening up, we can start back and getting to some of our in-person. So we got over 35 different partnerships, which is crazy resources and opportunities, all from here to Denver to LA. Crazy resources and opportunity for our kids. We've done all type of events, whether it's coding camps with robotics, whether it's screen or script writing with Warner Brothers. We took kids to Google, took kids to LinkedIn, took kids to DocuSign. We have painters. People know Carlene Jackson. She's like the big athlete, artist, painter. Blake Jameson, them two, I kind of like got them going and done some things. So now their business take off, which is great for them. But pretty much we just provide inner city kids with resources that's outside of athletics. Everybody not going to be the me or Steph Curry or Marshawn Lynch or Dame Leonard. It's a bunch of athletes playing in the Bay. And then obviously I named myself Dame and Marshawn. We from the Bay. It's not going to be a lot of kids who are going to get that opportunity. Understanding like a podcast, things like this, giving them opportunities where there are many ways. That's one thing I learned being around multiple billionaires, damn multimillionaires. There are, when you're around multiple billionaires, it lets you know there's a lot of money in this world. And if you can find your niche and whatever that is, your piece of pie, right? And your piece of pie don't have to be huge, right? You don't have to be Bezos at 200 million, right? Who can probably be the next Iron Man or Batman of this world. You can beat us at a couple M's and call it a day. But whatever you can find with your niche that make you happy and passionate, it's our job as a community to go find that opportunity for you, whether it's chef, cooking, coding, broadcasting, video games. We got a partnership with Ubisoft and Twitch, obviously. So we just try to find ways to get that going. And then as far as coaching, I want to jump into coaching just because I've had a lot of coaches tell me that I'll be a great coach. So it's a challenge for me. I'm big into challenges, right? Like we got the foundation going. We're gonna build this 60,000 square foot facility. It kind of got stuck. We were in negotiations with the Nimitz Group, and then things slowed down because of the pandemic. But things are starting to pick back up, which I'm happy about. So the kids have a building and a facility to go to back in my hometown. But kind of got the foundation going. I had my NFL career going. I think coaching was another challenge for me. Can you get these kids to not only believe in what you coaching and teaching as far as you playing the game and passing on your knowledge to the next, but then can you also let these kids know that it's okay if you don't make it to the NFL? It's okay, right? Because I got my degree from UC Berkeley, and Cal fans probably don't want to hear this. That degree has done, I ain't gonna say it's done nothing for me. I don't want to say that, but the degree didn't put me in a position like the relationship put me in a position, if that makes sense. Now, some of those relationships that I have are, oh, you went to Cal, I went to Cal too. Boom, we got a connection, we can talk, right? But a lot of those relationships is just me playing football or me being the nice guy they heard from somebody else. So, I look at these kids, especially up here at Cal, like, you're going to graduate and get your degree, and the Cal network is crazy, right? But if you don't tap into that network, the degree ain't going to do shit for you. You got to tap into the network. So now, I'm letting the kids know, like, how to network, how to tap in, who to listen to, who to look at in class, who to talk to when you go to your study groups and those things, who might be the next, and you need to be a part of that. So that's kind of what's going on with the coaching and the foundation. And then entrepreneurship wise, I sit on 15 different boards in Silicon Valley. I laugh at this because I wasn't gonna bring this up, but now since we're talking about it, I got this one dude, I won't say his name, I ain't gonna do that, I'll probably tell y'all off air, but like been blowing me up, DMing me, like talking mad shit, calling me broke, calling me this and this over some crazy shit in the past that happened back in 2018. But I just replied to him, I just said, hey man, look, I don't know what you got going on, but my daughter got $5 million she don't even know about yet. And that's the type of boards and shit that I sit on, that's the type of shares that I have in certain companies where my daughter is good. And that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. You want to put your kids, and I'm eventually going to have one more kid. You want to put your kids in a position where, I'm not going to teach my daughter how to be lazy. She's going to learn how to work and work hard. But if something does happen, right? If bad accident, she becomes unhealthy, she can't function the way she want to function, she's gonna have a lot of money that's gonna hopefully help the people around take care of her so she can get some of the things done. But the money's there for her, to take out and to do what she wants to do with it after I try to groom her and raise her in an independent, passionate way to be, hey, I can take this and go do this instead of just blowing the money off. So, it's just, that's what I got entrepreneurship wise, sitting on these boards and just letting this money, as the price go up.
Yep. Yep. Cashing them checks.
That's super important, and glad that you're setting up your daughter the proper way, leaving a legacy. And especially like let's get into like the transition from athlete to entrepreneur, right? This is two different things, right? We see like so many athletes can really leverage they're in the NFL. Like if you're in the NFL, there's not too many NFL players in the world, right? There's over 7 billion people in the world. There's only a hand select few in each team. So you have attention, you have power, you can literally turn into a businessman, but a lot of athletes don't leverage it, right? So why do you think that is, and why do you think they don't leverage their current attention, especially when you're actually playing it? That's when you're at your highest rank, and you could go to literally companies like you did, sit on the board, get equity, get shares, get paid that way. Why do you think people don't really leverage it like that?
I just think a lot of athletes are uneducated about it. I also think, like me, I would have never thought in a million years I could sit down with Dan Springer at the CEO of DocuSign and me and him can have a cool conversation. I would have never thought that. And then now we text and we do all those things, check on each other's families. But I would have never thought that, right? Until somebody, right, on my team was like, bro, just go to the building, say you want to talk to the CEO or some exec. Because who you are, bro, they'll sit down with you. Just know you got to be knowledgeable what you want to talk about, though. So I think a lot of athletes are uneducated on that end. I think another thing is a lot of them don't know. Like, they don't know where that is. Like, they never looked at their phone and go, man, Apple, where is that? You know, or they never looked at like, oh, the headquarters of Microsoft is in Seattle. Like, I don't think they ever, you know, took their life of, because all we know is playing football and making money, playing basketball and making money. You know, when you hear LeBron talk about more in an athlete, it's not just the social justice issues that he brings up and he's fighting, and you know, a lot of support there and got his school and shit like that. It's more like, bro, I'm more than just LeBron James, the basketball player. I can go sit and talk to these dudes. I can go sit and holler at these people to put me in position, put my family in position, put my friends in position. I just think a lot of athletes don't know. And then it's like anything new. It's uncertain. You know, all we hear as athletes growing up is they're coming after your money. They're going to try to way to get your money. They want your money. They want your money. You know, and when you go talk to a CEO, you think you got to put some money in or invest, or you think you got to do some things that's giving up your money. What you don't understand is that company is worth more than your football team. So, you know, they don't need your money. You need to find a way to make them better. So I just think I was educated and I got that education. And I was educated and I got that education. And I think that's what worked out for me.
Mm-hmm. That's super important, and I hope like any person that's in the NFL right now in the NBA literally listen to exactly what he said, because a lot of things we make things way more complicated than they actually are. He literally said, walk in the door. Literally, if you're in San Francisco, you go to San Francisco, there's all the headquarters of Twitter, Box, all these companies. You could literally walk in the front door, and just because of your status, you can sit down with the CMO or the CFO or one of the execs, and they'll literally get you an opportunity. You'll get an ambassador going with them. You'll get something going with them to where you eventually work your way up, and do that to all these other companies. Leverage your current attention right now, because companies would never say no to attention. That's something for sure. For instance, TikTok, that Charlie girl, yeah. She literally has her own drink at Dunkin' Donut, and she sells it out. You think Dunkin' Donut would have said no to her when she approached them, or when they talked to her? They probably even approached her. So companies are never saying no to attention. So if you have the current attention right now, you got to leverage it, and you got to put it in your favor. And all these companies, as he said, they got way more money than you do. So they don't need your money. They actually need your attention, which is actually worth more than money.
Mm-hmm. And then you said be more. And you said be more, be like, understand what you're talking about. Like, when you visit these companies, so you're able to bargain and understand, like, if you understand what, contracts, and at least have your own team to really like help you look over these type of things, and like you could really, leverage it as much as you can business wise too as well, but making sure that you know what you're talking about is key. Like, that's very important. You got to make sure that what you're offering, and you understand the value that you're bringing, so that way you don't get leveraged as well. So, because they're business owners.
And I think the biggest thing, like when I met y'all, right, I don't think y'all went to it. It was a private Microsoft event. You know what I'm saying? I think probably earlier that day or earlier the next day. Right, and I met a dude named David Schiff. He does David Scheif. He does digital solutions, digital media solutions out in Florida. His company just hit unicorn, so you know what that means. Yeah. But I got in with him, but bro, like, we was just cool. Like, I met him that day in there. We talked. We kept in touch. I think I talked to him 2 weeks ago. But when he sent me the message, like, hell, this is where we at. I'm like, God damn. I was like shocked. But I look at that time, like, another thing that I noticed too, like, also don't go in looking. Just go in and try to, like, when I walked in, even with him, like, I knew nothing about digital media and setting up a damn e-currency. I knew nothing about those things. You know what I'm saying? Even when the time like DocuSign, Google, Salesforce, like I walked in as far as like, all right, look, man, this is what I do. This is who I am, but I'm interested in this part of the department and I want to be educated on this, you know, for your own reasons, right? Google ain't looking at it like, hey, CjAnderson finna start a marketing company and I'll do marketing Google sales. Like they're not CEOs and they're not looking at the company or they're not looking at you as a competitor, you should say. So like, don't walk in going in like, oh, I'm finna go close this deal and I'm finna go do this and I'm finna get this much money. Nah, I literally walked in to educate myself. Like, hey, how does this work? How did you do this? How did you do that? You know, I did that with majority of companies that I sit on, and you know, it worked out for me. You know, but I think it's being genuine and understanding that I'm not finna, like, you're not gonna milk me out of my money. I'm not trying to milk you out of your money. We can grow together, but before we grow, I need to be educated. And you got to teach me something, you know, so I can go, oh, okay, I get it now. Let me put my own twist to it. So that's another advice I would give to people too.
That's what's up, man. Like, and I want to really, like, especially with all the entrepreneurs, the early stage entrepreneurs that are listening in onto this podcast, when this comes out, I want you to share, because I know you've been in so much unicorn rooms, you've been in, you know, amazing mentors, people, you've learned a lot from a lot of different people, and you've been spitting game all this entire podcast. So it's like,
he went crazy on this one.
What's one thing that you want them to like really take away from this? Like, what's one thing
like
that
takeaways?
Yeah, like that you've learned in, you know, by sitting on the board and sitting with these big unicorn companies and these heavy hitters. What's one thing that you've seen that's so important to really to know and understand when you're starting off as an entrepreneur?
So I'll try to give you my top three, right? My top three, you know, number one is don't give up, right? You must keep going. If you believe, like if you got passion, right? Let's cut all the things out, right? You got to be compassionate, you got to have passion, you got to be compassionate, humility. Like you got all those things about what you believe in, right? Number one is do not give up, right? Don't do that. Number two, you got to have help. You cannot be afraid, right? I sat across Bill Gates. Back in 2017, Bill Gates told me, man, I needed help, right? This Bill damn Gates, you know what I'm saying? We didn't know, like, Bill Gates was the first, like, between him and Warren Buffett, them was the only two names of billionaires we knew growing up. We didn't really know all these other people that's coming in, like Bezos wasn't there yet, Zuckerberg wasn't there yet. Like, those are the first two names we knew when we was kids. Like, we thought of Bill Gates started the internet, you know what I'm saying? Like, things like that, you know what I mean? But Bill told me straight up, like you gotta ask for help, right? You gotta ask for help. So don't give up. You gotta ask for help. And then my last one, bro, is be prepared for the situation. So if y'all are about to go have a conversation, you know, with somebody about marketing sales, do all your research that you can possibly do about marketing sales, good and bad. Because if they give you a pitch and you can go, hey, man, you know, this other company did that and it didn't work out for them. Because what people don't understand is all this is public access. There is no private access on information. All of it is public access. So there are different components when you're doing things as an entrepreneur, right? You need to take one thing and be very knowledgeable about that before you move to the next thing. So I just think some young entrepreneurs, you know, they bounce off the wall from here. Nah, stick here. And you might have to be there for a year or two and then move here and then move here. Don't move on until you're completely knowledgeable and you're ready, right? And then that's when you bring, which is the fourth step for me, that's when you bring your team on. Then you can bring your team on because at least you're knowledgeable about all the things that need to be done, but now you hiring somebody better than you for that one specific field though. So when they come to you and you like, oh yeah, I know about that, but they handling it. At least you know they handling it right. But those would be my top three. If anybody was listening in, those would be my top three. You know, those are things that I live by and stand by, and that's what we're doing now. So it's working for me. So hopefully it works for somebody else.
Appreciate you sharing that, man. I know that we're taking notes. I mean, it's gonna be a vibe.
That's what this podcast is about, you know, guys. We want you guys to take away literally all these gems and go apply it, because he wouldn't tell you these things if you don't go and apply these things, right? So going back to athletes not being knowledgeable. How important is it? Like, how critical is it to be around people that want to actually push you towards, like, yo, like, if imagine when you were first starting, I don't know if you had these people around you, but you had people around you that were saying like, yo, CJ, bro, you got to go learn about that. Bro, you got to go learn about that. Instead of people that are draining from your pockets, because now that you made it, you're the one that has the money now, right? Everyone's looking at you as an outlet, rather than having people around you that are just taking from the table. How important is it to have people around you that are adding value to the table? Like, yo, CJ, don't worry, bro. I'm going to go learn about Google. So when you have that meeting, you have the information, because the information is out there, right? Even though you might not have time right now as an athlete, or you're busy with training camp and everything, you can have someone, your right-hand man, go do that research. So when you're ready, y'all just pull it together and you have the info.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, my assistant, Brianne Miles, shout out to Bree, like, bruh, she runs my life. Like, when it comes to information, when it comes to being prepared, bro, I'm gonna get a 2-page, like, double-spaced paragraph, like if we back in college, about what I'm finna go walk into if I didn't have time. You know, so I think having a team of people to who adds value and push you in the correct way, I think those is huge. But I also think, you know, like I do, like my attorney, like Bree, you know, like my marketing man, I think you gotta give it back, right? You can't be greedy. You gotta give it back. Like, you know, here's a bonus, or here's a little extra this month, because, you know, I wouldn't have got this done without you. That's just honesty. You know what I'm saying? So I think having those people around you who add value to you, and build you up, always help you. But also understand, you got to treat those people like people. Those people, they humans. They got jobs, they got bills, they got lives, they got kids. So you gotta backdoor it with them too, to let them know that you not only you care, you appreciate them. You know, sometimes it's a little extra this month. Sometimes it's going to, like my attorney, her daughter is really good at gymnastics. I gotta pull up. You know what I'm saying? I pull up to the gymnastic meet. Like, yeah, I'm Bella's #1 fan today. What's up? Like, those things go a long way, you know, with the people that you're around. You know, everybody that I try to put around me who works for me in my circle, I try to treat them like family. And I try to let them know, bro, I'm going to do you just like family. The only time that you're going to hurt yourself is when you don't want to do the work anymore. And I just tell you, when you feel like you made enough money and you don't want to work no more, then tell me so I can start working on a replacement. But that's for me. That's just how I get down, and that's what I see.
That's super important. And we're gonna wrap this up with, where do you see, so what's the next 5 years looking like for CjAnderson?
Oh, so 5 years right now, bro. So we got some head coaching opportunities, you know, coming up that I'm gonna interview for. If we get them, we do. If we don't, you know, I'm still be here at Cal. But somewhere in between the next 5 years, I do see myself in a dominant coaching position. You know, the position I'm in now, right, is because I made this life for myself. I'm volunteering. I'm not getting paid to be up here at Cal. And I'm not, you know, I'm up here like a regular coach, 5 a.m, getting it in, looking at film, all the shit that I was doing football-wise, except for the physical part of it. So, you know, in the next 5 years, somewhere coaching with a band of brothers that we're working with now. And then that's on the coaching side. On the foundation side, we hope in the next 5 years, we're, you know, the deal is signed and done of building our facility. We know we will have our continuous camps that we already had going before the momentum stopped because of the pandemic. We bring those back. So we know we're going to get a bunch of more kids involved in that, which we're happy about that. And then on the entrepreneur side is continue to keep growing. You know, I'm in some new stuff now with some companies now, different roles. So, you know, I still got my DocuSign duties and my Google duties. I still got those duties, but I'm in a couple new companies now that are starting up, and my attention is there, right? So I need to find a way to bring value to their company as they're trying to grow, and as they're trying to raise funds. You know, Prefect is the new company that I'm on, and we just closed, I think it was 11.5 million. I'll send you the link, but I think it's 11.5 million. We just closed a deal with Microsoft. So like, we're trying to find different ways to close rounds and put us in a position. So 5 years from now, we can look back and go, God damn, we did our thing. So we're kind of in the early stages with that. And as you know how the early stages is. So I'm grinding on that as well.
That's what's up, man. Looks like you're gonna be busy for the next 5 years. Got a lot going on.
That's a plan. If you can map your life out in 5 years, you feel me? That's something I learned. Every 5 years, map your life out for the next 5. Hopefully, God's gracious get you to those 5. But if you can map it out for the next 5, you always keep yourself busy and entertained. So, I just saw Kawhi Leonard buy a $17 million house. I need something like that. I ain't there yet.
Yeah.
Our sport don't pay as great as here, so I gotta find a way.
No, and you're definitely gonna get there with the entrepreneurship and everything that you've been crushing it with. No, we definitely appreciate you for coming on the podcast. You spit like so much gems. You drop so much free game on here. Let the people know where they could reach out, where they could find you, all your socials, all the things. Everything.
They can Google the man for that.
They can Google him, but like everything,
So man. So Instagram CjAnderson RB9, Twitter CjAnderson B22. All foundation socials, right? D&D Foundation 22. At D&D Foundation 22. Obviously D&D Foundation 22.org is the foundation. You can donate. All that money goes to our programs and helping our kids. We got a lot of videos and stuff that we have not put up. But if you hit the contact email on there and you want a very long description of what we've been doing, because we have it, we just haven't had a chance to put it on the website yet. But if you want a description of what we've been doing and how we've been doing, I can see you all those videos and what we've done from our summer programs to our field trips, to our coding with robotics. We can put it all on there. As we like to say, man, we take a penny to 999 trillion. I don't even know, or quadrillion, whatever the word is for the most money. We'll take the least money and the most money that we can to help our kids, man. And if you want to be a part, you can hit the contact email on our website, and it'll get directly to me, because it goes to me and my assistant. It gets directly to me. I check those. I got to be. So it's crazy. Hugh Jackson want to get together, right? Football head coach for the Cleveland Browns. Oakland Raiders, been coaching the league for a very long time. But his foundation reached out to my foundation. So I know we finna collab on something soon. I haven't had a chance to talk to Hugh yet, but we finna collab on something soon. And this is gonna be great because I see what his foundation is doing and what it's done too. So if you want to help out and be a part, man, we all down. And then to y'all, to my young kings, man, if you need anything, any work, any connection, man, just hit me. It's always good.
No, we definitely appreciate you, man. As just to close it off like this, man. He's been with us from the start. He's been watching the whole entire grind. He's seen the podcast when it first started. Like literally, remember at the event we were telling you, like, yo, we just started a podcast. We're like, one day you're gonna get on it, but like right now we're not ready for it. But we're gonna get you on one day, and we made it happen, man. So we definitely appreciate that.
I remember when y'all was like, yeah, man, we ain't got the best mics right now. I remember the whole conversation. And I remember I told y'all, bro, y'all gonna be all right. Keep going. Like, because y'all was in an event that a lot of people don't get into. Private event, too. Private. That was an event a lot of people didn't get into. So that's when I was like, y'all on the right track. Just keep going. It's good to see y'all grow. Like, I think that's the best thing, too. Like, not only y'all, even with my boy Dave, when I met him at the Microsoft event, seeing his company where it is now, like, that's crazy. That's crazy that y'all have grown so much, y'all stuck with it. Y'all got y'all principles, and stick with those principles, man. Y'all gonna be all right.
100%. Man.
We're definitely. That's the only way to do it, man. Especially guidance from like you, people like David, Gary. All these people just help us stay on the right track and just focus on what's right. Because at the end of the day, you as you said earlier, you you don't. If you learn from others' mistakes, is how you get there much faster. So as long as we got people like that around us, I think we're just going to be just okay. So we appreciate you for coming on the podcast, man.
Nah, man. Thanks for having me. It was dope.
Appreciate it. Boom.
Wrap.
It's all right.
Hey.